All of a sudden now Lutman seems to have lost his control.
Well, the bat didn't indicate that time that he was going to bunt, but let's see what he does on this pitch.
Second baseman Young trying to keep him close. Strike on the outside corner. 1-1 the count. Still no indication, Chuck.
Well, but this is the pitch that he probably will attempt to bunt.
Krankowski and Rogers. Krankowski at third and Rogers at first.
Oh, no.
No, and bide again.
No.
That'll put him up at second and third. Lutman tried to take something off the curveball. Bates not able to block it, and so now we have runners at second and third.
It looks as though the Havergraves coach has decided that he's going to play for runs and not necessarily to advance runners.
Yeah, early in the ball game, you said it before, Chuck, sometimes you like to play for the big inning. High on the fastball. 3-1 the count.
Especially since pitcher's having a little bit of difficulty bringing the ball down. Seems like everything he's throwing right now is up, shoulder high.
There's another ball up high, ball 4. Now all of a sudden, Lutman had no problem at all in the first inning, and now he's loaded the bases with no one out, and that'll bring up Rick Bratcher, the catcher. Tony Blackburn calling timeout. He's going to make that long walk out to the mound to talk to his ace pitcher, Jimmy Lutman, and try to find out what's bothering. Maybe Blackburn has detected something wrong with his motion that's allowed the thing to go high.
Well, sometimes it's just a matter of being comfortable on the mound, and sometimes you may have to go out there and tell the pitcher, instead of pitching from a certain spot on the rubber, you just sort of move your foot a couple of inches one way or the other, and it gives you an entirely different sense or feel on the mound. So whether or not that's going to help, I don't know.
Let me ask you about
especially
Krankowski.
Especially if it's a pitcher that's having trouble inside and outside.
Let me ask you about Krankowski and Rogers. If the ball's hit to them at third or first, you coming home with it?
No, depending on how hard it's hit. I think right now, if I'm in the infield, I'm trying to get a double play anywhere I can.
Back to the pitcher.
Oh!
Off the pitcher's glove. The throw to home. Beautiful play by Lutman. What a nice play by Lutman. He was able to knock that ball down, stay with it long enough to get the force out at home.
Batting ninth for the Havergraves Warriors, the left
Boy, that was a nice play. Put a star behind it.
Excellent
recovery from the pitcher to the
recovery
catcher.
on his part. Excellent recovery.
Put Bratcher on at first base on the fielder's choice. Move all the other runners up. So Helmkamp goes to third, Fabriziani goes to second, and Bratcher goes to first base. One out now still. That'll bring up the 9th hitter in the lineup, Sean Welsh. Welsh, the left fielder, number 17. D-Rack 1 is the call.
The pitcher still is getting every pitch up high, though. If he can't bring it down a little bit, I don't know.
Bases are loaded still. Fastball on the outside corner. 0-2 now.
That was much better, much better.
Welsh is one of those nice, tall, angular young men. Reminds me of Richie Sexson of the Cleveland Indians, a modern-day sort of a reference there, Coach.
Yes.
1-2 the count now. Sean Welsh, a 6'3", 150-pounder. National Honor Society member. Curveball went around the strike zone, stayed out of the strike zone at 2-2 now. One out, bases loaded. Sean Welsh at bat. Jimmy Lutman on the mound, the sophomore in deep trouble. Fastball, strike 3. And now 2 out as we'll swing back to the top of the lineup, Captain Philip Hooker.
Number 16, Philip
2 down and the
Hooker.
bases remaining loaded. Boy, if Lutman can get out of this, he will have gotten out of a big jam.
That's correct.
And of course, he has himself to credit, himself to blame in the walks that put the runners on base, but himself to credit on knocking that ground ball down.
Right.
Hooker, a shot to left center field. Back on the ball, left fielder. Beautiful running catch by Timmy Dean, and that is the 3rd out of the inning. That would have been at least 2 runs or perhaps 3, but Dean went back and made a brilliant catch off to the left-hand side to end the inning for the Havergraves Warriors. What a nice catch, Chuck.
Oh, it was for this early in the season. That was a top-notch catch.
No runs, 1 hit. There were no errors. There were 3 runners left on base, and so in the middle of the 2nd inning, the Havergraves Warriors nothing, Joppatowne also nothing.
Again, it's a case where the pitcher got that ball high again, and he got good wood on it, or good
Let's
aluminum
call it
on
wood.
Yeah,
Figuratively,
good aluminum
it's
on
wood.
and drove the ball very well into left center field. But the left fielder had a pretty good jump and made a nice running catch.
Mr. Bob Thomas, the board member from the Joppatowne area. Do we have our microphone, Bobby, ready here? Mr. Thomas, if you have just a moment to speak with us, you were part of the pregame ceremonies. How do you feel as a board member, the partnership between the community and the school system to be able to build this wonderful field?
Well, this is actually about 13 years in the making, and actually, as a community, we're very, very pleased, very proud of the work done by the school, the staff, the students, and the business community that came to support this endeavor.
Leading off for the
We just
Joppatowne
couldn't
man.
be happier. It's an excellent
The left fielder,
facility,
number 11,
an excellent use of these
Ryan
lands up here,
Davis.
and we're very proud of it.
Bob, in looking at the history of Mr. Kelly, who died in the Midway attack back in World War II, certainly no better thing to do
Number
than
20.
be able to honor those that protected our freedoms back those many years ago.
Well, we think so here in the community, and we were very honored that when the name came forward that named this particular field after that gentleman.
Ensign C. Markland Kelly Jr. Memorial Foundation, again, lost his life on June the 4th of 1942, early in the morning of that fateful attack when a few pilots really made the difference in our country's history.
Absolutely. That was a person that made a supreme sacrifice, and this is one small way to honor that individual.
Well, Bob Thomas, thanks for being part of this wonderful day. Net weekend just occurring down the way at the school. That's also exciting as well.
Well, we had 4 board members stop by there this morning and spent 2.5 hours watching more than 100 people come together to help wire that school, and that's another exciting project for this high school.
Ryan Davis at bat now, the sophomore. Strike on the inside corner, the count 1-1. Well, again, Bob Thomas, thanks so much for stopping by.
Don, my pleasure. Thank you.
Good deal. Of course, Bob Thomas, one of the very supportive members of our Board of Education, and sort of a partnership that gets it all done. No score here, bottom of the second inning, 1-1 the count. On number 20, the sophomore right fielder, Ryan Davis, leading off the bottom of the second inning for Joppatowne. Joppatowne, remember, left the bases loaded in the first inning, and of course, so did the Warriors in their half of the second inning. Still no score here. As Chuck, it gets just a little bit colder as that sun has disappeared. Down low.
It appears as though both pitchers are having some difficulty, whether it's with the mound or whether it's just this early in the season, but they're all having some control problems.
2-1 the count. There's a ground ball to first base. Frankie Rogers fields it cleanly. Check it, I didn't turn my sheet over there. That's Jeff Berthney.
Batting in the
Frankie
eighth spot,
Rogers
the
plays
third
for
baseman,
Joppatowne
number
unless they just
9,
made a trade.
Alex Krankowski.
Unassisted, the out at first base. And that'll bring up Alex Krankowski, the senior third baseman, lettered last year. Bobby Griffin reminds me that Kelly Blackburn, who's a teacher at Haverty Grace, also the wife of Tony Blackburn. Bobby, I had a chance to talk before the ball game to Mrs. Blackburn, and I said, who are you going to be rooting for today? And she said, well, I got to root for Joppatowne, even though I'm a teacher at Haverty Grace. I think her husband would kill her otherwise. Alex Krankowski at bat. Nobody on, 1 out. Good fastball, just a bit outside. That'll even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
You were commenting about the weather. It does appear sometimes as though it's a little chillier than it appears.
Down low it is. Good scoop up made by Rick Bratcher.
Every once in a while there appears to be a little patch of blue, but doesn't it seem as though the sun's able to come out? But it certainly doesn't look as though it's going to rain, which is encouraging.
Thank you, Mr. Weather Prognosticator. If it rains in the third inning, you're a dead man.
That's right.
2-1 the count. Ground ball to shortstop. Cut off by the third baseman. That's Helmkamp. Fires over to first base for the out. Good play by third baseman Justin Helmkamp over to Jeff Berthney. 2 up and 2 down. And bring up the number 9 hitter in the lineup. Billy Young, second baseman. Lettered last year. Billy Young's a 4-year baseball player here at Joppatowne. He also is the weekend manager of the local Pizza Hut.
Ah.
I say that because perhaps after this game I'll be able to go over there and get a free pizza. Chuck, what do you think?
From the build of this particular player, I don't think he's been eating too many pizzas beyond his limit. That's for certain.
Not that pizza would make you fat or anything.
Oh,
We don't want to, you
definitely
know,
not.
hurt the
It's
pizza
one of
business.
it's one of nature's most healthy foods.
We're not getting any free food, by the way, Chuck, so just give up on it. Oh, Lord. Billy Young, 1 ball, 2 out, nobody on. Ground ball right in front of the plate,
No.
off the foot. Good job by Lovejoy, the umpire. He says, no, that's a ball. It's a foul ball.
That can sting. That can sting.
It's called the old hot dog. You know, you walk around a little bit and just seem nothing happens until that pain stops. Young batting out a little bit of a closed stance. Chuck, you explain to us what a closed stance is. Strike on the outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. High on the fastball. Overthrew that ball just a little bit. Seems like as long as he stays on top, Chuck, he's able to throw the ball
Right.
well. When he lets that arm drop, that's when he gets in trouble. We talked about the closed stance. You notice that left foot being a little closer
Right,
to home plate.
To home plate.
Why do you bat that way? What's the advantage of a foot
Well,
being closer?
The reason for watching the
There's the
position of
curveball, strike 3. Oh, Mr. Young was taking a dive out toward the dugout, and the ball broke right back
And
across
after
for
the
the
end of
called
2,
strike 3. 3
the
up and
Warriors
3 down,
nothing,
nothing across. No
and our
runs, no hits,
Mariners
no errors,
still
and
nothing.
in the middle, I should say at the end of the second inning, we have no score in this game. Chuck, you were talking about
No,
why
I
you
was
bat in
mentioning
the
the
close
fact
stance.
that where you position your feet frequently has a lot to do with whether or not you do what we would call pull out on a pitch, which means that your left shoulder would actually pull out toward the third base line too quickly.
Chuck, while you're talking, you see some of our fans here. Good crowd here
Yes,
at
it is.
Joppatowne, looking down the right side of the field, and there are fans all the way along the right field foul line. You're now looking, I believe, at our camera location. Yeah, you're looking at the third base foul line. Now you're looking at Chuck Marzin and Don Morrison. Wave at the camera, Chuck. Maybe your kids will be out over there. There's our camera. Hi there. Say hello to all the grandkids, and to Alan and to Charles Jr. and to
Well,
Jeff Marzin.
They're all away somewhere today, and
Really?
allowed me to leave the house. So
Good.
This is the only place I could find to come.
Good. Well, on Wednesday night, you'll get a chance to see yourself on TV on Hartford Cable Network. And Mark Grissom will be leading off, was the question. Kevin Irwin on the camera here behind home plate, perched atop a stool, and
Leading off here, the third
also
inning
got
for the
some blocks that they
Happy Grace
supplied
Warriors.
for us here to
The
be
right
able to get
fielder, number
the
8, Mark
camera in good
Grissom.
position. Speaking of that, Chuck, you always have to thank a lot of people for making this possible. And Tony Blackburn, the guy who called us maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago and said, wouldn't it be nice if you could televise this game, a first game at Mariner Field, at Mariner Park at Kelly Field. And so we're happy to be here and thank Tony for all of his arrangements. Top of the third inning now, Mark Grissom. He went out to the first baseman unassisted in the first inning.
That's encouraging. First pitch, and he had it down low for a change. He's been getting everything up high, but that was a very nice pitch.
Jimmy Lutman. There's that curveball. Takes a lot off of it. 1-1.
But again, if I were a coach, I would be very pleased that those first 2 pitches were, again, down low, which is where he's been having problems all along.
Lutman would remind you, I think, of David Cohn, sort of
Right.
the compact delivery he has, and seems to throw out of a crouch.
Right.
Gets a lot of power from those legs. Does the Scotty Erickson thing with the high socks.
Well, many of the old timers tell you that pitching is really all in the legs anyway.
Yep.
Has nothing to do with your arm. If you're going to get a sore arm.
Ground ball to second base. Billy Young comes in, fields it cleanly, fires over to first baseman Frank Rogers. 1 up and 1 down.
Batting second here in the third.
Usually pitchers who end up with sore arms attribute it to some problems with the delivery. But in many cases, it's because they're getting weary, leg weary, and in the process of compensating for being leg weary, they adjust their delivery.
Is Josh Schlegel. He got the single to left field in that first inning, the one that Chuck really credited Timmy Dean for coming in and making such a nice play on to hold Josh Schlegel at first base. One out, nobody on. Fastball outside. That's 2-0. If you just tuned in, we are in the third inning of play, top of the third. It's the Haverty Grace Warriors versus the Joppatowne Mariners. No score. First game ever played at Mariner Park at Kelly Field here in Joppatowne. Fastball shot to left field. Just fair. Turning first and going for two is Slagle. Timmy Dean fields it. Here comes the throw to second base. Slide, and he's safe at second base. 2 times up and 2 line shots to left field. This time a double to left field for Josh Slagle.
Pitcher number 30, Brian Schlegel.
Now we'll bring up Brian Slagle with 1 out. His brother Josh on at second base. Nice to have 2 brothers in the middle of your lineup.
Yes, especially 2 brothers who are at this size and appear to have the potential to really swing a pretty solid bat.
Brian Slagle hits the ball to left field. Took a little bit off of it. Left fielder Dean comes in, says, I got it. Dean has it. Fires it into the shortstop, Hymas. Nice pitch by Ludman. Took enough off of it that it appeared Brian Slagle got out on his front foot, and all the power was gone. Slagle now 0 for 2.
I'm impressed with the left fielder, Dean. He seems to cover a lot of ground out there, even on that last play, what appeared to be a very obvious double. He at least got the ball back. And
Berthney, wild pitch. Going down to third base without a throw is Josh Slagle.
Yeah, he at least made the runner slide on the play at second base. So.
Lubman that time released the ball high. A lot of it is where that front foot comes down. You got to make sure that you bend over that front foot so you don't throw the ball high. Lubman, line shot to right field. Checking no, it's to shortstop. I'm sorry, my eyes are failing me. And John Hymas makes the play. And that is the third out of the inning.
So fortunately, both pitchers, even though they get themselves in difficulty, have been able to get out of it so far.
No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 runner left on first base, and so actually on third base in this case. So at the end now of the 2.5 innings of play, it's 0-0, Haverty Grace versus Joppatowne. Good ball game, Chuck, so far. Seen a lot of good defensive plays. Early in the season, a lot of times you expect to see some shoddy defensive play, but both defensive teams have been right at the top of their game.
I wonder if the team, Joppatowne's been able to be on this field for a period of time, or whether or not they've had to practice elsewhere, and this may be the first or second time they've been on this particular diamond.
We're trying to get Tom Ackerman's attention over here, but he's stuffing his face with hot dogs, so I think we better leave him alone for the time being. Tom Ackerman, the principal and the chief cheerleader for the Joppatowne Mariners.
The pitcher number 2, Jimmy Lutman.
Now, I noticed that you're very comfortable, Tom, over there eating the hot dog, but we thought we'd catch you with your mouth full. Tom, what a wonderful day for Joppatowne.
No, it really is. It really is a nice day. A lot of people worked very hard, from Coach Blackburn down through the ranks of everybody we introduced. It's been a 13-year project, with the last 3 years being real intense. And we're blessed with a beautiful day, with the flags flying just right. Now, if we can win, which is all,
the we, of course, being Joppatowne.
We is Joppatowne. Yes.
You're watching from Haverty Grace. You have to excuse Tom because Tom is a Joppatowne guy.
We also appreciate everything Haverty Grace went through. During the ceremonies. Now, they were real gentlemen.
Yep.
They enjoyed it. And, really did appreciate their patience with everything.
So. 2-0 on Jimmy Lutman, and now the strike is called 2-1 the count. Tom, this idea of combining, being able to honor a World War II veteran with the foundation that supplied the money, what a great partnership.
Yeah, it really is. They're terrific people. They don't do a lot of. They haven't helped with a lot of public institutions. I think they told us we were the first that they had actually partnershiped with, but they did the Constellation downtown. The vote there, that's part of their work, and they've been real nice people. And again, it is nice to honor somebody
who was lost in the war.
Out of play down the third baseline, and so that'll run the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tom, I think it's very interesting. I understand the story is that almost jokingly you put out in a newsletter that if anybody out there has $50,000 they'd like to contribute, we have need for it. Tell us what happened.
Well, it was in our regular newsletter, and I was trying to let the parents understand how hard it is, to do some of these projects. And I guess, being a little bit cute. As a PS, I put, after describing some of the things we wanted to do in the future, if anybody had a check for $50,000, just to tell the secretary, my secretary, and she'd punch you right through to the office. And so it was. People did question my sanity afterwards, but it's amazing how it actually led to what took place. One of our parents.
Strike three, excuse me, Tom, and that Lutman goes down with the strike. And so now 1 out, and Ted Ballard will come up. Go ahead.
One of our parents was secretary to Mr. Whiteside, who's part of that foundation, and they just got to talking, and they'd been looking for something different to donate to.
That's Louise Gardy, I believe?
Yes, Louise Gardy.
Gardy, thank you.
And after that, they just came out and started talking to us, getting descriptions of what we wanted to do.
Pop up back our way.
And one thing that led to another, and then we got the grant, which was just
Give that fan a
very
contract.
lucky and very fortunate.
Rex Varney reborn. Adam Piaka makes the call. Adam doing a nice job. Adam's a senior here.
Yes, and Adam obviously missed his calling in drama, which he should have been.
Does a nice job. He's very excited. We're happy to have him.
Doing a nice job.
Boy, and talking about doing a nice job, Amy Bordner, she's a senior as well?
Yes.
What a wonderful job on the national anthem.
Yes, Amy was just in The Wizard of Oz.
Wow.
And just finished that.
She was Dorothy,
really,
I guess?
Yes. So it worked out nice that she was able to make it today. And this is a great baseball game, which is really, really nice. As you know, in high school baseball, something can happen in the first inning and the game is over. But this is going to be a very interesting game that I'm, again, hoping that we can.
Ground ball, nice play by Slagle. On his feet, throws first low. Berthney cannot scoop it out. Turning first and going down to second base is Ted Ballard. He's going to take a look at second. Stops there at second base. We talked about all that foul ground there, and had he been running, Chuck, he may have been able to make third base.
Right. And again, it's a case where the pitcher, even though he made a nice play, had a lot more time than he realized, and he had a tendency to hurry the throw when he really didn't have to. So I'm sure he realizes that now.
So that'll bring up John Hymas, the shortstop, with 1 out now and a runner on second base. We were talking about their great defense, and that time a very nice play by the pitcher Slagle. But as you said, Chuck, he jumped to his feet and then threw the ball low. Berthney wasn't able to scoop it out, and very aware, Ted Ballard turned first and went all the way to second base. So Tom, you also had net weekend this morning, and
yes,
that was exciting as well.
Yes, it really was. We had about 30 staff members and 30 or so parents, along with about 30 or 40 of our Cisco kids who are taking the Cisco computer course, who rewired our classrooms this morning. So that was another long-term project.
And you had 4 board members, I understand, with you down there?
Yes, 4 board members came, and the county executive stopped down, Jim Harkins, and went to talk to some of the kids in the different areas and shook their hands. And, it was real nice. It was very, very nice.
Complete the project, or do you still have some more work to do?
Well, there's 3 phases. This is by far the biggest phase. The next phase, the kids simply do the code wiring in the classroom, which will let the teachers plug into the internet. And then phase 3 is just a couple hours where the board has to come down and take care of actually setting the signals to receive the computers, which the kids can't do.
John Hymas, fly ball to right center field. It's falling fast. Philip Hooker on his horse, but can't get it. Holding on at second base was the base runner, and so we'll have runners at second, third. Here he comes to home. The throw, he is safe at home. The throw down to third base, also safe at third base. Time Ted Ballard stopped at third base and then continued the throw to home, and Ballard was able to beat it. The Havre de Grace bench yelling that he did not touch home base, but we're going to wait and see. The umpire's already called him safe, so it doesn't matter. So a double by Hymas, and he takes third base on the throw, and the first run of the ball game scored by Ted Ballard.
It's a shame we don't have replay, because the slide that the runner made was the difference in that particular play. The ball was there in time, but the slide the slide of the runner, eluded the tag, and I think he should be given credit for a very good running on that particular situation.
And the he, of course, is Ted Ballard, who scores the run. John Hymas on fly ball now. That's Bryant Jones, shortstop, going back.
Oh.
He falls down, catches the ball. The runner tags up. Here comes the throw to the plate. He's going to score. Very alertly, John Hymas tags up and scores after a nice play by shortstop Josh Schlegel to catch the ball, but he's unable to get up and throw the ball home. And so all of a sudden now, the Joppatowne Mariners have broken on top. Now, what are they saying? They're saying that let's see what that's all about. My scorebook says 2 outs. Let's
That's
see.
the end of 3. But our Mariners on the board.
Well, I'm
1-0.
confused here, Chuck.
I don't
Did he say he
understand
left
Don't
third base
understand
too
what that was
soon?
about at all.
Well, we'll have to get some explanation here. We know it was a pop-up to the shortstop. He jumped up and threw the ball home wildly. According to my scorebook, the first out was Lutman, who struck out. Ballard scored, and Hymas appeared to score, but we're going to have to get some clarification on that.
Right.
Maybe he left third base too soon. Didn't seem like they made the appeal play, though, Chuck.
No.
I'm confused.
Maybe
Of
if
course, let's
maybe
ask
one
the
of the
umpire.
coach,
Maybe
if
the
one of the
umpire will come over. Mr. Mike Lovejoy, tell us what happened on that play.
High school federation rules are a little different than Major League Baseball rules. If an umpire sees that a runner leaves the base too soon, as soon as the ball is put back in play, he doesn't have to wait. He can call the runner out if he sees the runner leaving too soon. So the fly ball made 2 outs. The runner out at third made the 3rd out.
Thank you
Do not
very
count the
much.
run.
Thank you
Mike
for
Lovejoy, the run does not count. The 3rd out is because John Hymas left third base too soon, unlike Major League rules where you have to call the umpire's attention, throw over, and touch the base. Federation rules, Mike Lovejoy just
Here
tells
we go
us.
now, leading it
I'm
off
taking
here
notes on
for the
this.
Warriors in
If
the
the
fourth
umpire
inning.
notices
It's
he
gonna be
leaves
the
too
third
soon, he just
baseman,
simply
number
calls him
12,
out.
Justin
on that very
Feldkamp.
last play too. The shortstop had to go out a little bit into left field. All things being considered, it would have been much easier if they had let the left fielder, make the play because he had a direct line to make a throw to home. And that's why, unfortunately, the shortstop fell and couldn't recover. But
Now, I probably represent a different view, but to me, he was on the bag and didn't leave. And you say we do or don't have replay? We don't have.
On Wednesday night, we have replay. You can replay it as many times as you want on
I
Wednesday night.
will be watching over and over again because to me, he definitely left.
Fly ball to center field by Helmkamp. Coming in is the center fielder, and that's Ted Ballard.
When I
Ballard
was-
makes the catch.
when I was a little younger, we would have referred to that comment as being somewhat of a homer.
Tom Ackerman, the voice from the Joppatowne principal. You might realize that Tom is just a
He's
little bit
homer.
biased.
Yeah, I've been known as a homer. I
Been
guess,
known as a
before.
homer.
This might. This
Now
might be a
batting
good
the
time
second
with us
baseman,
ahead
number
1-0
Justin
for me to
Fabriziani.
bow out and get over to some of the guests if that's
Tom
okay.
Ackerman, thank you so much for stopping by. Go back to your hot dogs.
Yes, unkind. Thanks a lot. See you later on.
Thank you, Tom Ackerman, one of the really true giants of our school system. Tom lives and breathes and bleeds purple here for Joppatowne. Of course, all of our principals do. It's so much fun as a high school principal to get involved in all the activities. Chuck, you were at Edgewood High School for how many years?
I was there for 15 years, and
Being a
They
part
were-
of a high school is something very exciting. Ground ball,
Oh.
base hit. That's Justin Fabriziani. Chops the ball to the right side of the infield.
as
Now that'll
former,
bring up
as
Rick
former,
Ratcher.
as former teachers, we both realized that some of the most pleasant times
Now
that we
batting
spent
the catcher, number 7,
were
Rick
actually as
Bratcher.
teachers, and I know my 15 years at Edgewood High School were some of the most memorable and pleasant years that I've enjoyed as in my working profession.
1 on and 1 out. Here in the bottom of the 4th inning, check at the top of the 4th inning. Haverty Grace finds themselves down now by 1-0 as the Mariners broke through in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Fabriziani on at first base. He's 1 for 1. He walked and now singled. Lutman takes a lot off of it. Catcher Jeff Bates does a nice job of going out and receiving that ball. 2 balls here and no strikes. Back to first base. Fabriziani dives in safely.
You keep such a nice scorebook, Don. If I had known this, I would have had you do that when you were playing for me.
Well, I did actually, because I never got to get off the bench when I was playing with you, so I sat over there and kept the score. Line
Oh,
shot
there's a
over
nice-
the second baseman's head
That's
for a base hit. Fabriziani turns second and holds on there. Good job by Teddy Ballard coming in to field it. Now all of a sudden it's the Warriors with a rally going. Runners at first and second with one out. Bringing up the ninth hitter in the lineup, Sean
Now
Welsh,
batting
the
the
left
left fielder,
fielder.
number 17, Sean Welsh.
Keeping score is something that very early in my life I used to lay awake at night. That's why I couldn't get my homework done. And the Sun papers used to give you score books if you would mail in and get them. And I would keep score. I have complete score books from the 1956, 1957 Orioles. Why? I don't know. It just seemed like a good thing to do.
In fact, if I remember correctly, having been one of my former students, I think you even submitted one of those score books for a grade, but I'm not quite sure if I accepted it or not.
Well, it was probably the only homework I did. Nice
nice
play by Lutman. Throws to second base, and through it goes. A run will score as the ball gets back into the middle. Lutman made a nice catch of the ball through to second base, where shortstop John Hymas came across the bag. It looked like second baseman Billy Young was in position to take it, but Hymas dove across, obscured the view of Young. The ball went into center field, and so we have runners at first and third, one out, and we have a tie ball game.
Again, it's a case where a little bit of confusion. I think they both sort of caught each other out of the corner of their eye, and I think it took his
Now
eye
batting the
off the
center
ball.
fielder, number 16, Phil Hooker.
1-1 is our score. By the way, Chuck, your guarantee of no rain, I think somebody is spitting on us if that's not rain.
I felt the drop myself. Well,
So we have runners at first and third. Back to the top of the lineup, Phil Hooker swung on and missed. Yeah, Chuck, you're an excellent baseball man, a great coach, and a wonderful father, grandfather, husband, but you're a lousy weather forecaster.
well,
Ball down low. Here comes the runner from third base. Lutman covering, and he's got him in a rundown now. Lutman running him all the way back and makes the tag. The he, of course, is number 7, and that is Rick Bratcher. Bratcher broke for the plate. Nice job by catcher Jeff Bates. He got on the ball quickly. Lutman doing exactly what he was supposed to do, covering the plate, and he chased him all the way back to third base and tags out Bratcher. If you're scoring at home, just put out to the pitcher, and the second baseman, I should say the runner Welsh, goes down to second base on the wild pitch. And so now we have 2 out with Hooker still at bat. Hooker on the pop-up. Catcher, Bates calls for it. Bates makes a diving catch. That's a very difficult play, but he hangs right with it, does Bates, and makes the catch. And so some shabby defense and some good defense, and 1 run scores. So it's 1 run on 1 hit. There was 1 error, and there was 1 runner left on base. And so now in the middle of the 4th inning, our score is tied at 1-1.
And after the end of 3.5, Happy
Again,
Grace, Warriors battle back
very
with
difficult
1.
for
We have
runners,
ourselves a tie ball game
especially on a
going into the
pass
bottom of
ball,
the 4th.
to get a
1 to
sense
1.
of because the instinct kicks in and you have a tendency to want to score, but the screen here is not that far from home plate, so any ball that's a wild pitch is going to ricochet back off to the screen, so you really have very little leeway to score from third base unless it ricochets down one of the lines. But it bounced almost directly back toward the plate.
We can see some of our fans here scurrying for cover, and there's not a whole lot of cover here. I don't think anyone, including me, brought an umbrella, and our camera folks didn't bring any covers for their cameras, so you can see they'll be scrambling around trying to get some covers for those. And of course, Chuck Marsden, our fearless weather prognosticator, Bobby, promised us it was not going to rain, and so the fact
Leading
that we're
off
both
the
we're
bottom
getting
of the
wet
4th.
here. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Well,
The first baseman, number
I-
16,
I seem to have the weather
Franklin
forecast for
Rogers.
Bel Air. I didn't realize we were this far south.
Yeah, thanks. 1-1 our score as the Joppatowne Mariners come up now in the bottom of the 4th inning. They broke on top with a run in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Blue skies, Bobby points out to us, and so just don't worry the fact that I'm soaked here.
Ooh.
Behind him it goes.
I promised that I wouldn't be hit by any pitches, but that was awfully close.
You seem to be dodging there. I
I-
noticed that.
Don't trust screens.
Frankie Rogers now the batter for Joppatowne. Junior first baseman. He walked in the 1st inning, up for his 2nd time. Down low it goes. 2-0 the count. you just tuned in, we're in the bottom of the fourth inning, a 1-1 ball game. It's the inauguration of the Mariner Park at Kelly Field. Had some wonderful ceremonies before the ball game, and it's been a really good ball game so far. First game of the season for both of these teams. Pop up off the right side. Berthney gives it a look, but out of play. 2-1 is the count now. We're hearing from Tom Ackerman. Tom Ackerman says that we're just letting it rain a little bit to keep the dust down.
That's
is what
right.
Tom is saying. Mike Bauer, the longtime athletic director, basketball coach, coming over here to talk to us. Bobby will get us a microphone. Mike, tell us exactly, are you a basketball coach and athletic director? What are you doing at Joppatowne now?
I'm now just the athletic director. I've been farmed out of basketball, turned it over to one of my ex-players, as you know, Kilo Mack, who's doing a great job.
Now, as athletic director here, things are really looking up for Joppatowne. The money that was given by the foundation to allow us to build this field and then also to improve the football field, all that's being put to good use.
Now batting, the left fielder,
Yeah,
number
our
11,
field situation just this year has changed so dramatically. The opening of this field, as you well know, I mean, we probably couldn't have played this game if we were still playing on the lower field from that rain last Monday, because it just gets so, it just didn't drain. But this is such a beautiful field, and we just had our football field resodded, and we didn't get to play any home games there this year, so we're really looking forward to coming back there next year. Got new stands coming for the football field, and yeah, things are really looking up for us right now.
Timmy Dean at bat for the Mariners, runner on at first base and nobody out. Mike, as an athletic director, folks sometimes think of athletics as being a frill or something that's not really important. What is the importance of athletics? I'm talking about interscholastic athletics to a high school.
Well, I've always thought when I was coaching Don, and I think the same thing as athletic director, is that it's an extension for a lot of kids of the classroom. You know, it's a learning experience. It's a different type of learning experience. Kids get to see teachers in a different light as coaches. You learn a lot of, I know it's cliche to say, you learn a lot of lessons in sports that carry over into life, but believe me, I've seen it with kids I've worked with. I've seen it with my own kids. The ideas of hard work and teamwork and effort and what have you are things that people leave school with, and you take to higher education, you take into the workforce. And so, I mean, anybody who doesn't recognize the value of athletics as an educational tool isn't looking hard enough, if you ask me.
And Mike, of course, you teach social studies, I believe?
Yes, I do, yes.
And I knew that, but my mind sometimes wanders. And as an academic teacher and then also a coach and an athletic director, you get to see both sides.
Oh, yeah. And like I say, I've seen athletics help a lot of kids in the classroom because, you have to be successful in the classroom if you want to play. We have eligibility policies, as you know, in Harford County, and so if you're not doing it in the classroom, you won't be out here on the baseball
now batting,
field
the
or
right
anyplace
fielder,
else.
number 20,
So
Ryan
they mix together real well.
Speaking of doing on the field, Brian Schlegel breaks off the curveball. Timmy Dean waves at it, and so he's out. One out. The runner stays at second base. Frank Rogers, he got there on the walk and a wild pitch, and that'll bring up Ryan Davis. Ryan's a big kid for a sophomore. Mike, you're growing big down here.
Yeah, he's one of our bigger ones.
Athletics at Joppatowne, 2 times this team has gone to the state championship under Dan Gaughan as a baseball coach, and you've won 2 football championships, but I think you'd be the first to admit in recent years you've had an up and down situation. Things are looking up for Joppatowne.
Oh, yeah, I think our teams are improving. Our
Give that
football
fan a
team,
contract.
although didn't have a winning season this year, they won 4 of their last 5 games, and they had a lot of young kids that are coming back. The basketball team's doing much better. Our teams are turning around.
And of course, a lot has to do with the community, the support that you get. Wild pitch now, going all the way down to third base and cruising in on that wild pitch is Frankie Rogers, and he'll be there now with 1 out as Ryan Davis takes the ball inside. So how important is, we saw Warren Hamilton come out, and we saw the cooperation with the community partnerships. How important are they to a school?
Well, I think community is very, very important to a school. I think a school should be an integral part of the community, and that's what we try to do here at Joppatowne. And I think that I've been here since the school opened, And this is an involved community. We have a lot of parental support for all of our teams. We've got a lot of parents involved in our booster club, and parents that, whose kids play on certain teams come out and support the teams. And like the baseball, some baseball mothers are over here today running a concession stand for the baseball team, things like that. So it certainly helps you. You can't really do it without the parents supporting the programs.
Mike Lovejoy punches out the
Now batting,
batter
the third
Ryan
baseman,
Davis, and that's
number
2 out
9,
now.
Alex
The runner Frank Rogers hangs on at third base,
Krankowski.
and that'll bring up Alex Krankowski in a key situation. He grounded out to third base in the second inning. Base hit here, of course, and the Mariners could go ahead. And Mike, as you came over here, the sun came out again.
Well, I'd like to take credit for that, but of course Tom Ackerman will take credit for that. He claims the weather is entirely because of him. In fact, that's what I was just doing, reminding him it was raining after he promised a totally sunny day. So.
Well, my partner here talked earlier. I don't want to dwell on this, but the fact that I'm now wet, he promised me it wouldn't rain until tonight. I'm wiping off the table now from this dew that must have fallen.
Well, you're right, though, Don. Sun's back out. We'll be all right.
Krankowski now, strike on the inside corner.
It's really not raining, it's just a sprinkler system on the field.
That might be. That could, well, that's probably what it is. That's what it is. It's probably the athletic director's fault he didn't turn the right switch today.
Strike on the curveball. Of course, the sun now coming out brilliantly, and I think the rain's over, Chuck. I'll go on the. I see all the blue sky here, and Bobby points out some clouds off the right side, but that's Baltimore. That's probably smog down there. Key situation in this ball game, Chuck.
If it rains from now on, it's your fault.
Okay. So you took credit for blame for the
That's
first one.
right.
Now it's me from here on out. 1-1 the score here. Foul ball, back to the screen.
Well, in a very tight game, it's that runner at third base is very crucial. So
There's no question about it. Also, Chuck, you notice that the warning track around here is made out of mulch, and so the ball tends to come back and just die in this mulch, and so that makes it tougher for the catcher as well. Big curveball, strike 3. Krankowski turns around and looks at Mike Lovejoy and says, no way, that ball was out of the strike zone. But boy, give Brian Slagle a lot of credit. Runner on third base, he fans Tim Dean, fans Ryan Davis, and fans Alex Krankowski. And Haverty Grace gets out of the inning, no runs scored, and that remains tied now after 3.5 innings of play at 1-1. Mike Bauer, we thank you very much for stopping by here. Any final comments or observations?
Well, I'm just glad it looked like the day's turned out nice, and now what we want, I probably shouldn't say this, but is a Mariner victory, so that'll make it a perfect day. See you later.
Spoken like a true Mariner. Thanks, Mike, for stopping by. I think we better get a Haverty Grace fan on the mic here sometime, because they'll accuse us of being prejudiced or whatever.
It's beginning to appear as though they're loading the...
I think Bobby Griffin, Bobby is a wonderful parent. He tends to always be talking about a 4.0 student at Haverty Grace. Would that be not your daughter this time? Wow, Bobby says she's going to get a 4.0 student from Haverty Grace who's not his daughter. That'll be unique. So if you just tuned in, we are, after 3.5 innings of play, we have a 1-1 score. We're getting our scoreboard together here. Actually, it's after 4 full innings of play. Haverty Grace will send up Mark Grissom. Mark Grissom, the sophomore right fielder.
It's going to be the right
Who do we
fielder,
have,
number
Bobby?
8, Mark Grissom.
Nicole Stottlemyre, welcome.
Hi.
Nicole, you're a student at Haverty Grace. What grade are you in?
12.
12th grade. That would be a senior, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Now, how many days do you have left until you graduate?
I'm not counting.
No way.
Mm-mm.
You mean a senior who doesn't know how many days are left?
42.
42. Bobby, did you give her that clue? Yeah, we have found out yesterday it was 40.